So, you've decided to hire a contractor. Smart. Now you're staring at two very different doors. Behind door one, you've got Toptal, the famous top 3% of freelance talent. Behind door two, you've got Hire Overseas, a managed staffing agency that places full-time overseas team members for up to 70 to 90% less. Same goal, wildly different price tags. But here's the part that nobody's gonna tell you. Picking the wrong one doesn't just cost you money. It costs you the whole hire. One of these is built for sprints, the other is built for teams. So today we're gonna settle it with real pricing, real review site data, real client case studies, and a side-by-side you can actually just screenshot, no fluff. Welcome back to the latest in business, where we break down where work, money, and technology are actually heading before everyone else catches on. I'm your host, let's get into it. Here's the short version, then we're gonna go deep. Toptal and Hire Overseas solve two different problems. Toptal is a premium freelance marketplace. You hire a highly vetted specialist for short, high-end project-based work. A senior engineer or designer who parachutes in for just a few weeks. You pay a blended rate that typically runs $60 to $150 an hour or more, plus a refundable deposit and a monthly subscription. Hire Overseas is a managed, done-for-you staffing agency. It places dedicated, full-time overseas team members in the Philippines and Latin America and handles the sourcing, vetting, contracts, compliance, and payments all for you at a flat monthly rate that lands around 70 to 90% below a comparable US hire. So here's the honest rule. Choose Toptal for short, premium, specialized projects when budget isn't a constraint. Choose Hire Overseas for an ongoing, full-time team member at a fraction of the cost, with the vetting and paperwork handled. For most businesses, building a team for the long haul, Hire Overseas is going to be a better fit. Now, let's actually go ahead and prove that. First off, let's be completely fair to Toptal, because it's genuinely really good at what it does. Toptal is a freelance marketplace founded in 2010 that screens freelancers hard and markets access to the top 3%. Software engineers, designers, finance experts, product managers. If you need a world-class specialist for a defined, high-stakes project, Toptal's vetting is a real advantage. And that reputation is earned. On Trustpilot, Toptal carries a near-perfect score across roughly 2,400 reviews, with clients repeatedly praising talent quality and responsive matching. G2 and TrustRadius echo the same. But here's how the money works, because this is where people get surprised. Toptal bills a blended hourly rate. The freelancers pay plus Toptal's margin, baked into one number. Independent pricing breakdowns put typical rates at $60 to $150 an hour or more, averaging around $90 for developers and $200 plus for specialized AI, finance, or senior technical talent. Full-time engagements commonly run $12,000 to $20,000 a month per person. On top of that rate, expect a $500 refundable deposit, a roughly $79 monthly subscription, and minimum weekly commitments. And the most consistent complaint across review sites isn't quality, it's pricing opacity. Because Toptal's markup, reportedly up to 50%, is embedded in the rate. Clients can't easily see what they're actually paying the person versus the platform. So, Toptal's model is premium talent, premium price, hourly, short term. Excellent for sprint, expensive for the marathon. Now the other door. Hire Overseas isn't a marketplace you dig through. It's a managed staffing partner that builds your team for you. It connects US businesses with pre-vetted full-time professionals in the Philippines and Latin America across roles like digital marketing, bookkeeping, customer service, executive assistance, and technical development. The process starts with a discovery call to define the role, the skills, and the ideal profile. Their team then sources from a pre-vetted talent pool or runs a custom headhunt and hands you a shortlist to interview. Every candidate goes through skill evaluations and background checks, and once you choose, Hire Overseas facilitates onboarding and provides ongoing coaching to keep performance high. Now here's a structural difference that really does matter. Where Toptal bills a blended hourly rate with an embedded markup, Hire Overseas charges a flat, transparent monthly fee. No platform markup, no hidden cut. And that fee doesn't just cover salary. It covers contract and payroll management, a new laptop, Wi-Fi, and home office costs, plus regular coaching and support. One clean monthly number. That's it. And notice what's not there. No time tracking surveillance software. The model is built around outcomes and not like clocked hours, which, according to the Contractors reviews, is exactly why people want to work there and then they stay. Any hire that you're ever going to make is a bet. So look at who absorbs the risk if the bet goes bad. Toptal offers a trial period, commonly framed as a no-risk trial where you don't pay if you're not satisfied with the initial work, backed by that refundable deposit. Fair. But you're still managing the freelancer, the classification, and the relationship yourself. Hire Overseas keeps it pretty simple in comparison. There's just a 14-day money-back guarantee. You try your new team member risk-free, and if it's not the right fit within those 2 weeks, you get your money back. No lock-in, no games. Inside a relationship where the sourcing, contracts, and payroll are already handled for you. To me, that's the philosophical gap. Toptal sells you access to talent, but Hire Overseas sells you the result, inside a managed relationship with a 2-week safety net. But let's not take either company's word for it, let's actually go ahead and read the room. On Toptal, the review consensus is remarkably consistent. Trustpilot shows a near perfect score across roughly 2,400 reviews. G2 and TrustRadius echo strong marks on talent quality and payment reliability. The praise here is real. Great specialists, fast matching. The criticism is just as consistent. Opaque premium pricing and support that can vary by account tier. In other words, you're paying top dollar and you know it. On Hire Overseas, the proof is in the client results, and they've actually published them. On their case studies page at hireoverseas.com/case studies, the numbers are specific and they're brutal in the best kind of way. Arist, an enterprise learning platform, overhired after their Series A and burned cash. They rebuilt their marketing globally through Hire Overseas and got 20 times more leads at 10% of the cost. Their co-founder, Ryan Laverty, put it simply, better performance at a 10th of the cost. Talofa Games scaled faster by adding a full stack engineer, a senior utility developer, and a QA tester at 70% lower cost than a US hire, freeing more than 30 leadership hours a week. Their CEO, Jenny Zhu, described the team as hardworking, reliable, and great communicators who handled challenges gracefully. That's a nice touch. Rupa Health partnered with Hire Overseas to build a global media team that saved $1.2 million a year and helped make them the most recognized brand in functional medicine. Sunrise Toyota scaled its service department with offshore VAs handling calls and bookings, and saved 75% in costs. Search SEO replaced a $60,000 local SEO team with a $3,000 offshore growth engine. And Veronomics chose an offshore executive assistant instead of a $5,000 US hire, cutting support costs 40% and freeing leadership time. Their COO, Gio Scalzo, said he now can't live without them. That's the difference between a marketplace and a partner. Toptal has great reviews for talent quality, Hire Overseas has receipts for business outcomes. And here's why that satisfaction sticks. Gallup finds the manager relationship drives roughly 70% of the variance in time engagement. A staffing model that keeps contractors happy is a model that keeps your hire in the seat, which is kind of the whole point of building a team. So let's run the numbers on one realistic scenario. You want one full-time person ongoing for about a year, say an experienced marketing or operations hire. And a quick note, this is just an illustrative example, not a quote. Your real numbers are gonna vary. Path 1, Toptal. Take a conservative blended rate. Let's call it $90 per hour. At roughly 160 hours a month, that's about $14,400 a month. or over $170,000 a year, plus a deposit and the subscription. For a genuine top 3% specialist on a critical project, that can absolutely be worth it. Path 2, hire overseas. Industry benchmarks put a full-time Philippines-based professional at roughly $1,000 to $1,500 a month, all in, versus $3,500 to $5,500 for a comparable US hire. Savings that independent sources put in the 65 to 90% range. One 2026 analysis pegged offshore savings at up to 73%. Wrap that in hire overseas flat fee, salary, payroll, equipment, and support included, and you're building a dedicated long-term team member for a fraction of a single Toptal month. This is illustrative, and Toptal's specialist premium is real value for the right job. But for an ongoing role, the gap isn't a rounding error. It's the difference between renting one senior specialist and keeping an entire supported team member. Just ask Arist. That's a $100,000 team rebuilt for $10,000. Now, here's the clean way that you can decide. Choose Toptal when it's a short, defined, high-stakes project, when you need a niche specialist for a few weeks, when budget is not the binding constraint, and when you're comfortable managing the freelancer and the paperwork all yourself. Choose hire overseas when you're building an ongoing full-time role, when you want the same person growing with your business for years, not weeks, when you want vetting, contracts, compliance, and payments handled for you, and when you want transparent, flat pricing at up to 70 to 90% below a US hire. For most people watching this, founders and operators building a team, not just renting a specialist for a 3-week burst, hire overseas is the better fit. Same quality bar, a fraction of the cost, and someone else carries the operational weight. Okay, is hire overseas cheaper than Toptal? Generally, yes, significantly. Toptal bills a blended rate of roughly $60 to $150 an hour or more with an embedded markup, while hire overseas charges a flat monthly fee built around overseas talent at up to 70 to 90% below a comparable US hire. Is Toptal worth it? For short, premium, specialized projects where you need a top-tier specialist fast? Yeah. Its Trustpilot and G2 reviews are strong on talent quality, and the main trade-off is high, less transparent pricing. It's great for what it does. What's the difference between the two models? Toptal is a freelance marketplace for project-based specialists billed hourly. Hire Overseas is a managed staffing agency that places dedicated full-time overseas team members and handles vetting, contracts, compliance, and payroll for a flat fee. Does Hire Overseas vet its talent? Yes. Every candidate goes through skill evaluations and background checks, and you interview the finalists before choosing. What if the hire doesn't work out? Hire Overseas offers a 14-day money-back guarantee. Try your hire risk-free, and if it's not right within 2 weeks, get your money back. Where does Hire Overseas source talent? Primarily the Philippines and Latin America, across marketing, bookkeeping, customer service, executive assistants, and technical roles. You can find real client results on their case studies page. So, here's a takeaway. Toptal and Hire Overseas aren't actually really competitors. They're different tools. Toptal is a scalpel for short premium jobs. Hire Overseas is how you build your durable full-time team without the US price tag or the paperwork. Match the tool to the job and you win either way. But if you're building for the long haul, the math, the model, and the case studies all point to Hire Overseas. If this reframed how you think about hiring, subscribe, because that's what we do here every single week on The Latest in Business. Break down where work, money, and tech are actually heading before everyone else catches on. I'm out, and I'll catch you next time.